Boa tarde a todos.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today this afternoon. And I have the honor to call our three panelists on stage who are going to be with me on stage. Daniel Santana, Information Security at Itaú Bank.
Ronnie
Vainzoff, a partner at VLK Lawyers.
E Átila Batista.
And Attila Batista Bandeira, DPO and Executive Manager of IT Security at Banco do Brasil.
Acomodar aqui nas cadeiras.
Please take your seats.
É prazer estar aqui com vocês.
Again, it's a pleasure to be with you today. Our topic is so relevant that it's AI in its two faces, the good and the evil, and all that regarding cybersecurity or cyber invasion. And this is what we're going to talk now. Well, 10 years ago, Stephen Hawking mentioned that AI would be one of the best or worst things for humanity, depends on how it's used. 10 years later, we are sure that his train of thought was very well based. And we are going to start with the evil AI. So, Ronnie, we'll start with you. So what context of using AI in cybercrime? Hello, it's a great pleasure to be with you.
Raquel, acho que se abriu muito bem o tema. A IA é uma tecnologia.
AI is a technology, just like the internet, just like energy, electricity, has a purpose. And it will reflect in its use and the way that we can use it. We can use it for good or for evil. It's good that we are going to talk about like using AI for the good, and we have plenty of data to substantiate. But unfortunately, it can also use for evil purposes. We can see that being used by criminals. And just to show you a few numbers, around 40% of phishing is already guided to companies through AI. 60% of receivers, they fall into a fraud. Remember there was one that we had, like, there was this spam message saying like, listen, you're being cheated. That was the only way I found. So we have all our data that are exposed, broadly speaking. They have been leaked somewhere. And information is widely accessible on the internet. In other words, we are giving our information on a silver plate to criminals, and they can use this information in a very convincing way to generate that social engineering that it's effective. 95% of costs for campaigns for phishing, they already have the economy done by the criminal. We talk about AI economy, and it brings economy for the criminals as well, and deep fakes as well. They will represent around 70% of cyber crimes related to crypto coins up to 2030. So it's a series of data that show the need to get together and use AI for the good to mitigate this information. Well, these data are scary, right? I'm glad that we can use it for the good. Okay, let's ask Daniel right now. Itaú Bank is one of the largest banking institutions in Brazil. How is this duality of using AI? Because we know that most companies and organizations today need to use data massively because they can standardize and personalize its services. And at the same time, they have to keep the data under secrecy. So what are you doing at Itaú? Okay, hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Attila, great to see you. Thank you all for coming. Well, Rony said it well, speaking of the evil AI and speaking of the criminals and all that, and using AI.
Eu acho que os ataques cibernéticos eles ganham escala.
I think cybercrimes, they are gaining momentum and scale, and we must be ready for that. We must be ready for this kind of escalation, because we're talking about a huge number of deep fakes, fake pages that deceive the general population, and that requires investment. We have investment on in R&D, and the same way that they are using new technologies, the financial system is also trying to use new technologies and how to protect our clients.
A gente vê que novas tecnologias vão surgir.
New technologies come all the time, every day, and they are evolving. Scammers are following the same evolution, and we are keeping our eyes peeled to protect our clients.
Ter medo da nova tecnologia.
We should not be afraid of AI, of this new technology, because it's here to bring loads of benefits. And this investment, this R&D over the new technologies, they bring way more benefits. And that's the journey we should go.
Obrigada, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel.
Átila, e no
And Attila, what about Banco do Brasil?
Com certeza, os números são tão
That we know that the numbers are great, are huge, just like in Itaú. So how do you deal with this two-faced AI? Hello, everyone. Hello, dear friends. And it's great to see Danielle and Roni that we go way back. So cybersecurity, and again, thank you for your interest in the team. So this duality is way bigger than like the good AI and the bad AI. It's the protection for the company and also protection to your client. So what we have today, we're dealing we're talking about the evil AI to attack not only our clients, like with phishing and many other kinds of attacks. And everybody knows here somebody who, if you know somebody who was scammed once, raise your hand. I think almost everybody. So we have the customer side and the protection, the company protection side. And just to give you some more data, more than 50% of Brazilian companies have already suffered some kind of attack, cyber attack, based on AI. So then it's a direct attack. These hack attacks are more sophisticated as we speak. And the tendency is to have massive use of data. So we need data, and then we come across privacy. Another aspect that must be analyzed very carefully, it's not fear, it's care, that we should have extra careful regarding privacy and how these models are being used and will be used. Because using AI for evil is not only for attacks. We've seen this many places, everywhere. It's using like the discriminatory use and biases. And in this geopolitical scenario that we are going through today, this scenario is quite feasible. So these are the aspects. So especially at Banco do Brasil, we brought systems close to us. You see there, DPO, executive and cybersecurity. It's not uncommon in Brazil for the DPO to work more in legal, but I've seen that this is changing around the world, because even in an event that I went to Brussels last year, they ran a study in Europe. 40% of companies in Europe are bringing data protection and privacy close to cybersecurity, especially because of that, because of this scenario that we are using AI intensively, and these systems must walk hand in hand. They cannot be separate. So with all these segments and protection, the company and the clients, and also privacy and data protection in a way that we can use AI in an ethical way. Because if we use it for evil, that also comes across privacy. Thank you, Attila. You brought very important topics. And just to bring you some context, in last report from IBM, it showed that companies that do not use AI to fight crime, they end up spending $2 million per incident, per extra incident. So that clearly shows that AI is also escalating with the scammers, and it brought an important topic. And I would like to show Juani. Ronnie will need that. We know that we need to use AI to fight crime, but we still have a long way to go between the real need and safe implementation. So what do you think? What kind of government moves, and especially regarding administration, so that is actually effective and clear at the organizations? I'm going to piggyback on what Attila mentioned.
Agora sim. Eu tenho o prazer e satisfação de
I
representar.
have the pleasure and satisfaction to represent in the National Committee in the cybersecurity. So, speaking of the importance of using data and personal data and technology, because not all AI consume personal data, but most of them need personal data to be effective.
A Lei Geral de Proteção de Dados.
And the general law for data protection has two factors.
De proteger dados pessoais.
They have to protect personal data, but also
Uso de dados pessoais para o desenvolvimento.
also using personal data for all the development in technology and economy and finance. And having like protection to data, it's pointless if we don't use AI. So, and financial institutions are obliged, they are forced to evaluate some transactions and to acknowledge in order to block those operations if they can actually happen. But how can they do that without using data intensively? How can I endorse a client or using face recognition without using data and without using biometrical data? So you see, it's important that we shouldn't have like a restrictive view of AI, especially using the especially if we use regulations, because they have a special need and a special use with AI so that we can develop all this. So, but the general law for data protection has some tracks that they can follow, that it's like relevant, important, and safe to use. And if they don't use data and AI, first of all, they are not competitive. And second, they cannot avoid a number of scams that are taking place. We need to defend that because we cannot have like regulations that would restrict that. Okay, regulations must be charged so that it's ethical and responsible. So revising data and using AI with regards, with respect and legal certainty, it's important so that we don't waste and we don't lose everything that we've done so far. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you for your contribution. Everything you mentioned goes along digital literacy, so like training, educating really the population. And that is also a responsibility that falls on the banking shoulders, right? So how has Banco do Brasil worked on that? What kind of initiatives you have on that regard? Well, literacy and digital literacy is way more evident after the pandemic because many people just weren't ready for digital world and they had to go like by force. And right after that, we have intensive use of AI that made that a little bit more challenging. So not only Banco do Brasil, but other banks, this system, the banking system, is the one that investing heavily, not only on digital maturity, because you think, okay, so they have a cell phone, they are online, they have apps, and they do all their transactions. Yes, but it goes beyond that. If that individual is ready for that environment, and being ready for the environment, that's the role that banks have been playing. So Banco do Brasil, Itaú has been doing that. FEBRABAN talks about that on a regular basis. So, and why is that? Because this investment, it's for the sector. And not only what we believe of like raising awareness, because we have campaigns So if you think it's a fraud, just report, and many other campaigns on social media, on TV. There is also that thing of like active protection and showing the clients that that situation is dangerous. And there are many examples today. I'm going to mention just a few. For instance, whenever the client has the cell phone open on the bank app, we warn if the client, if there is a call and say, listen, that may be a fraud, that may be a scam, because they enter in like the zombie mode, as we say. They say, oh, they're smooth talkers. It's like, we have somebody from your family. This is over, the fake kidnapping. But when you are in zombie mode, we have to remove them from this state. So we send a warning when there is like a possible fraud in a call. And there are others. I'm going to give you another example. It's a partnership of banks with the telecommunication companies. And they are studying and they are placing, for some cases, that every time you receive some kind of call, they say that's spam, suspicious. Not to mention those that many banks are already doing, of warning if the account of destination has been involved in fraud. So that all makes us to work on a digital literacy with people that is very active, not only from the point of view like warning. So okay, this is good, that must be done. Yes, and many people are not ready for this universe of AI deep fake that we are going to mention. But also to have mechanisms, to invest on mechanisms that wouldn't let anybody fall on that scam, even if they want to. So there are many resources, and if we mention all the actions that we're taking, we would spend a whole afternoon here. But there are many good things coming along that will help society. So that's the role of the banking system, to help society on that regard.
Claro que sim.
I just would like to mention something about this example, this geolocalization feature to prevent fraud. Nowadays, imagine the Brazilian population. It's very easy to fall prey of these frauds. So these proactive measures are necessary. So if you perform a transaction, there is no matching with your geolocalization, so this will be blocked. Oh, but this is privacy invasion. No, not really. This is just a match. We are not monitoring constantly the geolocation of this client. We are just matching, is it a fraud or not? So this must be legally validated so that we can get these benefits so that we can intensely use this data to prevent fraud.
Perfeito, os dois comentam.
Wonderful, love this comment. Daniel, at Ito, how can we fight this deep fake? Because this is getting more and more difficult for people to understand what is really true or not in this digital world. Well, reality resembles the realities that we observe in all our banks, and we are all looking for prevention and protection measures. We're effectively trying to protect our clients so that there might be no financial losses, and also there is significant investment in digital technologies so that we can literate these people and also so that we can deal with what is happening now. We are actually advertising this topic, and this is a very strong focus of banks because it's a challenging context, especially when we are talking about new ways of attacking systems, especially because deepfake has deeply impacted us. They posed these huge challenges regarding identification, and we, as experts, many deepfake cases that we receive, we cannot even identify what that is, and that it requires investment in R&D, and also to understand how this is built. We can only defend what we can understand, so we need to invest significantly so that we can develop our team so that they can understand the techniques that are being employed by criminals, by fraudsters trying to deceive our population. So there is a very important way to be paved, and we are heavily investing this. The whole financial system is doing so that we can develop this fundamental pillar. We need to educate the clients, the people in general, because they all play this important role in identifying and containing these cases. And as my friend here mentioned, banks that are investing the most here in this sector. We want to have this right digital protection so that our channels can be very much protected, so that we also have this contextualized alerts, specific pages. So education is never enough, really. And we needed to help clients to make decisions in their daily lives, and this is not even enough again. So we need to invest heavily in the years ahead. Well, we have covered about this foe. Now let's see the other side. Let's talk about the bright side of AI. Daniel, starting with you, what about this good side of AI? How are you working with this? How is it helping Itaú Bank to fight and prevent cybercrime?
Costumo dizer que
I usually say that AI is bringing something revolutionary for cybersecurity, which is that for the first time we can escalate cybersecurity in an exponential manner. So this is not the vision of automation, because this does not mean automatizing these relatively simple tasks, but we are actually interpreting decisions that are being made. Obviously, there's this whole context because it's a new technology. There's this whole euphoria regarding this on the part of the market. But yes, there is this opportunity, and we can see how AI can add these benefits. There are different fronts when it comes to responding incidents, alert contention, and there is this sea of data that can also be processed by AI so that we can really extract values. So all these areas when it comes to cyber security detection, contention, identification, all these areas will benefit from the use of AI so that we can really process, as our friend here mentioned, this massive amount of data so that we can make decisions fast under a certain context with intelligence so that we cybersecurity teams can stride in this road when it comes to achieving cyber protection. At Itaú, we are investing heavily in R&D and in cases of AI so that we can really capture this benefit, so that we can also use these clear cases
em apoio
by using AI and also being supported by humans so that we can scale everything that we are doing, both inside the bank and also for our clients.
muito bom.
So this is a very good moment for us to be working in cybersecurity, because this will also help us to take great strides so that we can achieve such protection. Attila, what about you at Banco do Brasil? Oh, imagine the scenario, as Danielle mentioned. Now, we also have 4 million cybersecurity professionals around the world. We have the exponential increase of attacks. There is also a higher level when it comes to the difficulty shown by these attacks, specialization. And in the cyber environments, it gets to billions every day. We have billions of cases to be treated every day. And in a year, we have over trillions and trillions of cases. So we have to correlate everything. We had to make decisions based on these events. And I'm just mentioning about these protection from a corporate perspective, but from a client's perspective, these are all these aspects, and the environment is still very challenging. We also comes to attacks to clients. So this will not be possible if we do not use AI. There are many examples, like Maurice, our vice president, also said at one of these panels, that one of the fundamental topics at the Banco do Brasil is cybersecurity, the use of AI in cybersecurity because of this. It's because this enables our businesses. So apart from this, it can also ensure the sustainability of the business and of the digital means for society. Because if we create a society that can see itself as a defenseless society, this will not be sustainable in the short run, in the long run. I'll give you an example. Besides the direct use of AI in the cybersecurity mechanism, we recently had a project that combined cybersecurity, automation, and AI. so as to identify and make decisions in the case of clients that might have been fall prey of phishing. I won't say the mechanism because otherwise the other side here will also listen to my ideas and we might compromise our project. But we really try to scan all these fake pages, SMS, phishing, because there are specific patterns that the AI can identify so as to identify also those that might have fallen prey of phishing. So and use their data for transactions. So one of the things that we have seen, well, there were over 500,000 cases, over 99% of accuracy. So even even some of our employees also fell prey to this, and we also warn our clients, and we also say, okay, maybe you became a victim of phishing. And we also do this work, this is how we combine AI to protect our clients. This is very cool. There are many organizations doing that. And this shows that we can combine the use of AI, cybersecurity, privacy, businesses, and sustainability, digital sustainability. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Now, Ronnie,
Na verdade, eu gostaria de te perguntar, assim,
I would like to ask you,
a área de segurança cibernética
in cybersecurity,
cada vez mais junto.
this area must be working closely with the AI development area inside organizations so that they can navigate these waters, right? How do you see that? And what guidance can you provide Brazilian companies, especially banks, when it comes to this part? Well, this is a digital governance area, which involves different topics because these are a multidisciplinary topic. And let's talk about this topic first before mentioning governance. When it comes to the deepfake, you can no longer see to believe it. We cannot discern what's real, what's not. And so we needed to have much technology available so as to create this constraint so that we can stop this advancement. And when it comes to AI, 98% of these cyber attacks wouldn't happen if we could apply these multiple verification factor and other cybersecurity factors. So we still don't have the basics for this. And the good use of AI, for example, what Atla mentioned, is actually identifying and authentication methods. So we cannot authenticate without identifying and not using data and AI. Money laundering, for example, we cannot do that without using AI. And when it comes to fraud prevention and transactions and credit scores, how can I provide a credit score in an efficient manner if I do not have all this wide range of data, especially those that do not have an account with alternative credit-related data, and because sometimes they are not covered by our banking system. And cybersecurity, as you mentioned, Rachel, $2 million. And this was related to these incidents, so as to use AI to detect cyber attacks. So what do we have to do when it comes to digital governance? We need to involve cybersecurity teams, also data protection and privacy teams, because what we are discussing here, they must be compliant with the Brazilian data protection law. And we also needed to involve the innovation teams. Nowadays, law is the one that is boosting, not a detractor for innovation. Security is boosting innovation. And that also applies to privacy because the security by design and privacy design, if these concepts are applied without the premises that we are mentioning here, what if we want to go back to the basics and start all over? Well, without the AI, if we do not use this data lawfully, well, machine learning is there. But there is no machine unlearning. We cannot unlearn that. If that is considered unlawful, how will we unlearn what the machine has learned? Will you just stamp out your algorithm so as not to use this again? So these are multidisciplinary committees that need to go hand in hand with all the advancements in these topics. It's a shame we do not have much time because I could stay here for hours on end. Well, we have reached the conclusion of this panel. I would like to thank you so much. And also on the part of Claro, we are the technological enabler to Banco do Brasil and Itaú and the whole financial market here in Brazil. One of our roles is to delve into this topic and bring robust and safe solutions to the market. And in this regard, there are thousands of APIs to fight fraud, and these have been commented by our panelists, and it's worthwhile to get to know all the details. So I would like to thank you so much, all the representatives of all the banks. Thank you so much for your disposition. Ronnie, you're one of our greatest partners and authorities in Brazil when it comes to cyber governance. And Daniel, thank you so much because you also gifted us with your presence. So would you like to say your final remarks? 1 second. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks, people. Thank you, everyone.